Up on here, so we've got another lane here. As you can see, we'll come out of the below this baffle. The flow is coming through into this aerobic zone. So after the anaerobic and anoxic zones, the flow is now into this high rate aeration zone, where it flows all the way back up to the top, then all the way back down this lane behind me, and we can hear now overflows out. So the 6 lanes, but then the flow is all commoned up from those 6 lanes again, the mixed liquor. The solids concentration in these activated sludge plants in this one is probably about 4,000 milligrams per litre. So if you took a sample out of here, what you would see is a very rapidly settling biomass, about 4,000 milligrams per litre, which effectively is a biological population that we're using. They're the bacteria which are oxidising the carbonaceous BOD to carbon dioxide and water. They're oxidising the ammonia to nitrate in the aerobic zone, but what they're also doing is growing. So what we're doing is effectively the primary treatment process removes all the settleable material. In the secondary treatment process, a lot of what we're doing is converting what we can't settle into biomass, which we can settle. So again, we'll use a sedimentation stage to take the excess biomass out. But the important thing is we're feeding and growing bacteria all the time. So this process is producing excess biomass all the time, quite a high yield. So for every kilogram of BOD that comes into this system, we're probably producing about 0.8 or 0.9 kilograms of biomass with growing bacteria. So as we'll see with the final separation process, this activated sludge separates very easily from the effluent now. So in these tanks behind you, the activated sludge is settled out, and nearly all of that is returned back to the head of the process. So the reason we need to do that is because the retention time in each of these tanks is probably 4 or 5 hours. Nowhere near long enough for the bacteria to grow. The slower growing bacteria we need for ammonia removal take 5 or 6 days to double. So what we have to do is keep settling the sludge out, sending it back in again. And so we have a separate, the sludge age is, the retention time in the sludge is much longer than the retention time of the liquid. So we need to control, that's a very important parameter for activated sludge, what we call the sludge age. If you need to, particularly if you need to include nitrification, they're much slower growing than the heterotrophic bacteria. And so in UK conditions, in the winter we'll need a sludge age of 10 or 12 days to maintain nitrification. Sorry?
Because in the winter time
the rates slow down. That's why it's not just the removal rates, but their growth rates slow down. The ones that remove BOD are not a problem. They're really tough. They grow really fast. They would only need a retention time, a sludge age of 1 or 2 days. But the ones that remove ammonia are a completely different set of bacteria. They're autotrophic bacteria. They're much more delicate. They're a lot slower growing. And then these sort of wastewater temperatures, at the moment the wastewater temperature probably today is about 14 or something like that, 14 degrees. But worse, on a big site like this, it will get down to 11 or 12 degrees, not much lower than that even in January. But at that temperature, their growth rate is slower. We would need to maintain the sludge age at about 10 or 12 days to keep the nitrifying bacteria in the system. So the final clarifiers behind us are absolutely essential for separating the biomass out so we can return it back to the process. So we've got enough retention time, long enough retention time in the biomass to keep all the bacteria that we need, and also to clarify the effluent to discharge.
the sludge is returned to the anaerobic zone.
Exactly, the anaerobic zone here, yeah. But also a very important aspect, so we're returning the sludge all the time, but we have to take some out. Because if we returned all the sludge all the time, the solids concentration would just go up and up and up, and the clarifiers wouldn't work. So it's sort of two very important design and operational aspects of the activated sludge process. One is the sludge age you're maintaining, the retention time of the solids, but also the concentration. So we target here about 4,000 milligrams per litre as the mixed liquor concentration. It's just a simple physical measure. You filter a sample and weigh the paper, or you can do it visually. You put this in a settlement tube, you would see very quickly within 10 minutes you'd see it separating out in a very distinct interface So you can tell fairly quickly just from a settlement cylinder, just looking at it.
So you change the amount of sludge that is recirculated?
Yeah. Sorry, how much?
Yeah.
It's about the same as the flow coming in. The settled sewage flow coming in is almost 1-for-1. It's almost like 100% recycling, something in that order.
Sorry guys, we are going to have to think about
Yeah, moving on.
getting round
Yeah,
the side.
okay, that's
I mean,
right.
I can answer some questions next
So-
week, but we will be an hour late.
If we get in there about 1:45 to give us